From a sibling rivalry, take it to the next level, a bit of a rushed romance, a revenge subplot, and a genuinely amazing visual and very amazing choreographed final battle. This is the DCEU movie that surprised everyone. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but Aquaman is surprisingly amazing. Yes, maybe if you watch it by itself, you could say it's mediocre or maybe average. But when you compare it to the rest of the DCU, it's surprisingly amazing. Aquaman's solo movie is just there's really no way to sugarcoat it. It's it's amazing to the point that it took everyone by surprise. It even put respect back towards Aquaman because again it was kind of helped by Justice League because as I mentioned in that video, the general audience just kind of didn't understand Aquaman and didn't respect him all that much because of the parodies. But Justice League and this movie put some respect on his name. Finally put some respect on his name. And we're going to find out why together in this movie we're going to find out why this happened. Ever since the DC start ever since the DC, that's not a way to say things. Ever since DC started their cinematic universe in 2013, they released 5 movies in 5 years. That's not. Oh wait, that is right. What? I'm confused by my own script. What the heck? Ever since DC started their cinematic universe in 2013, they released 5 movies in 5 years. Man of Steel in 2013, Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad in 2016, Wonder Woman and Justice League in 2017. All 5 of these movies were poorly received, except maybe Wonder Woman at first. So when an Aquaman movie was released, everyone thought it was just going to be more of the same, just mediocre, dark, gritty, and whatever Suicide Squad was. Nobody expected that Aquaman, one of the characters of the Justice League that was treated as a joke for a majority of the early 2000s, or even the early 2010s, would have his own solo movie, and said solo movie would reach $1 billion in the box office worldwide. Before I dive into the whole compliments and to talk about the positives and the negatives like I usually do, I'm gonna be giving a bit of a backstory about the movie, as I usually do. You can always use, if you already know the movie or if you just don't care, you can always skip using the timestamps in the description. But if you're interested, here's the basic plot, or basically what the movie's about. The movie's about Arthur, aka Aquaman. After the events of Justice League, he gets roped into a fight for the throne of Atlantis against his half brother Orm. But I'm getting ahead of myself because that's not actually how the movie starts. The movie starts with how Aquaman's parents met, just a simple narration. I mean, I say simple narration, they also had some footage. Duh, it's a movie. But they show and narrate how Aquaman's parents met, with Arthur's mother, Queen Atlanta, washed ashore at a lighthouse where his father, who I forgot his name, was living. He took her in, took care of her, they fall in love, then have Arthur together. That all ends when she's forced to return to Atlantis to protect her family from the king, who launched attack to attack the lighthouse to bring her back by force, putting Tom and Arthur in danger. His name is Tom! Yes, his name is Tom. I completely forgot about it. His name is Tom Curry. Anyway, back on track. The king of Atlantis, who was supposed to marry her, decided to launch an attack on the lighthouse, which forced her to return so she can keep her husband and Arthur safe. I don't know why I said husband and Arthur, not husband and son, but whatever. She leaves and then is just presumed dead for the rest of the movie. The movie skips forward in time to after the events of Justice League, where Arthur meets Mira and she basically drags him to Atlantis to fight his half brother Orm, who wants to unite all the underwater kingdoms to invade the surface world. Their brothers duel, Arthur loses, Mira helps him escape, and they meet with Aquaman's old mentor, Descartes, who will help them find the first trident of Atlan. Now, the first trident of Atlan is significant because it basically signifies who the true ruler over Atlantis is, and gives Aquaman the ability to talk to fish whenever he likes, even though it's shown that he can technically already do that. But I guess now he's more of in control and order them around, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty confusing because at the beginning of the movie, when they show when he's a kid and he's able to communicate with animals already, but at the end, like when he gets the trident, they show that he's like mentally connected to all the fish in the sea. I have no. I don't really understand that part at all, but I'll get to that later. I mean, I technically already said it, but oh, I mean, who cares really? We're moving on. In the beginning as well, they show Black Manta, who is part of a pirate squad with his father. His father gets trapped. Manta begs Arthur for help. Arthur says, "Nah, fam, I'm out of here," and then he leaves and lets Manta's father die. And Manta decided to try and get revenge, which obviously he fails to do because it's an Aquaman movie. Focus back. Aquaman is defeated. They find the trident. Is that the fact that the trident is located deep underwater in underwater territory where it's all dark and it's like inhabited by these creatures that just are blind and they like follow sound and are afraid of the light. And I don't remember what they're called, but that's basically the description of them. Anyway, they go in there, they find like a prehistoric time area where there's like sunlight, and they actually find his mother there, who, yeah, she turns out she was alive. She says she was alive. Oh my god, which turns out she was alive, and she encourages him to go inside and grab the trident. So Arthur does go inside. He communicates with like a giant sea creature thing, and he successfully gets the trident, which basically gives him, as I said before, the ability to communicate with all sea creatures. After that, he returns to the final battle, where the final battle was taking place, with Orm against some like crab tribe. And then he goes there, he interrupts them, he has a final duel with Orm. He forces Orm to surrender. Well, Orm was willing to die, but then he changed his mind once his mother returned. And Aquaman became the new king of Atlantis, and then the movie ends with Aquaman and Mera officially becoming together and being the king and queen of Atlantis. So let's get to the actual premise of the whole thing. Why was this a huge surprise for the people that saw the movie? I mean, the movie, in summary, sounds pretty basic, right? It sounds pretty basic. Like, yeah, if sibling rivalry and someone wants a throne and stuff, and they want to fight the surface dwellers. Yeah, all that is pretty basic stuff, right? But so we'll start breaking it down. The movie, for one, takes on an entirely different tone than the rest of the DCEU, which is actually a good thing and absolutely works in its favor. It's not dark and gritty like the previous movies. The main protagonist isn't some gloomy guy who isn't a complete inaccurate depiction of his comic counterpart. Aquaman is a bit of a goofy character, and the movie overall is a pretty silly movie. It's very, I guess, campy, you could say. Like, you can tell that this is a comic book, right? You can tell this is a comic book movie. One of the standouts for me in this movie is Orm. He is a person that genuinely cares about Atlantis, but his anger and hatred towards humans is the driving force for all of his actions. To draw a little comparison, he's pretty similar to Killmonger and Black Panther. Both have motivations to improve the world somehow, but they go about it the wrong way. Orm tries to unite all the underwater kingdoms to kill everyone that lives on the surface. Which then he is forced to stop once his brother takes the throne. I think this was a good opportunity for them to display more of that in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, but this isn't really the video to talk about that movie. That's for a whole separate video. But as I was saying, Orm does have some good points when you actually listen. Like he complains about how humans have been polluting the planet for decades with little to no concern about wildlife is a pretty good motivation for his character. But then the conclusion he reached is pretty crazy too, being the I'm gonna kill everyone that lives on the surface. Now, the story of how Aquaman's parents met is narrated at the beginning, as I said before, which isn't my favorite way to portray it, but I'll give it a pass since I think general audience didn't really know about Aquaman's backstory before this movie came out. I just like how the now again, why am I bringing up his backstory again? Now, why am I bringing up his backstory again? It's because I like how they played with his uniqueness. And I like how they showed that a pure Atlantean couldn't have been an effective ruler on a planet that is inhabited by multiple species because a pure blooded Atlantean was only going to care about Atlantis, right? Because again, they show that they have different tribes, and each tribe is going to be responsible for its own people. But if they ever try to communicate with the surface, they're going to be effective in communication amongst themselves. But when it comes to communication with the surface world, they'd rather not because they don't have a middleman they can trust. So having Aquaman, who is part human and part Atlantean, be the king of Atlantis is the best thing for them because now they have a middleman who can act as a diplomat, or they have a king that can act as diplomat on behalf of Atlantis and talk to them on behalf of humanity. It brings them a perspective of both worlds, or it brings a perspective to the world about both parts of the world, the sea and the land. Now, I'm aware this isn't the exact direction they took within Aquaman: The Lost Kingdom, but again, that complaint is for the next video, or like for that video. It's not for this video. Another reason I like about the whole Aquaman being the true king of Atlantis is because it shows to the Atlanteans that, or to the underwater tribes in general, that not all humans are bad. Take Mira for an example. She hated the surface dwellers up until she met Aquaman and joined him on his adventures. I'll talk about the elephant in the room. No, I will not talk about any of the actors that appear in this movie simply because I can't talk about them without addressing the drama and the controversies that came with them. Because this video is not about that, and it does not have a place for that. It's only about the movie and about the characters. Moving on. Atlanteans as a whole also didn't like humans all that much. Like I'd imagine from the years and of Orm's hatred and his influence over them, about how much he hates humans because of the pollution they caused and all the damage they've caused to the sea. Which, again, I've mentioned before, those are fair points. But keep in mind, those are their only perspectives on the human race. So Aquaman, being the true successor, shows them that not all humans are evil. Not all humans are bad people. Black Manta, though, is an opposite example of this. It's, again, as I mentioned before, it's shown that he's part of like a pirate crew, but he doesn't really like anything that's under the sea, right? And his personal hatred of Aquaman comes from the fact that Aquaman just let his father die. Very interesting. It's very interesting to watch how Aquaman can be cruel and why Manta despises him. Now, look, I'm not much of a comic reader, and I haven't really read that many Aquaman comics, if at all. So I don't really know if this is out of character for Aquaman or not, but it fits with the rest of the DCU. But it fits with the rest of the DCEU, so I guess it might be. Again, touching up on the Aquaman, on the Black Manta point that I said earlier, how he's an opposite of the Atlanteans. He dislikes Atlanteans. He dislikes anything that's under the water. Hence, he's an underwater pirate. He only teams up with Manta, or with Orm, sorry, is because they now have a common enemy. They both despise Aquaman, hence why they collaborate together. This is actually the perfect segue to talk about the costumes in this movie. How they managed to pull this off is insane. It's generally one of the best live action superhero suits of all time. It might be up there with Spider-Man's suit in Brand New Day and Superman's suit in Superman 2025. I'm just saying, Manta's costume is definitely in the top 5 costumes of all time because they could have easily messed this up. It's so easy to mess up something this ridiculous, but they managed to pull it off without it looking ridiculous. It looks so cool. I'm genuinely, I need this costume designers in the new DCU, man. It's I can just imagine the type of costumes they can pull off. Anyway, lightning round of things I like. Orm's costume design looks absolutely incredible. The final duel between Aquaman and Orm is just so good to look at. It's well choreographed. The lighting is amazing. The camera work is amazing. I love it. I love the final duel. And Tom Carey and Atlanta didn't die at any point throughout the movie, unlike another Aquaman-centered movie that shall not be talked about right now. On to the negatives, because of course no movie is 100% perfect. My main issue with the movie is that Aquaman and Mira's romance feels underdeveloped. For me, it felt a bit rushed, like there wasn't enough time that passed for them to develop feelings for each other. It could be a me issue, but I feel like they could have spent more time developing their relationship beyond just the few days of adventures that they went together. Willem Dafoe's character, that I do not remember his name, didn't feel very necessary for the movie at all. It feels like when I was watching the movie, I felt like he was sidelined a lot, and it felt just weird to look at. Not look at as in look at it, but like as in someone who's watching the movie seeing a character like that, who's probably very an important character to Aquaman, just not appear so much throughout the movie. Again, it could be a me issue, but I felt like he should have had more screen time. And lastly, the soundtrack of the movie as a whole and the song choices are just not that great at all. Again, it's personal tastes, but personally, I just don't like the choices at all. To summarize my thoughts, the movie is overall a very fun watch, and it's one of the best DCEU movies ever came out. But what did you think about this movie? Did you enjoy it? Did you dislike it? Let me know in the comments and let's talk about it together. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this. If you want to see the other DCEU movies that I did, make sure to check the playlist. And if you want to see other movie reviews, watch the latest non-superhero movie review I've done recently, also in this playlist. Next time, probably going to do another DCEU movie review, but I still haven't decided that yet. I don't want to make any promises. I was originally planning on making a Spider-Man Brand New Day spoiler review, but I feel like it's been already too late for that. I might as just, well, wait for it to come out digitally so I can make a full movie review on it. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, like the video. I don't know why I said the video like 3 times. That's just not good English. Anyway, if you loved it, then and you'd love to see more, then please, I don't know why I said please. That does not make sense. Please be sure to leave a subscribe. What? You know what, man? I'm just gonna end the video here. My English is not Englishing today.